Hello, everybody, and welcome to WarCrafters for 12/15, so December 15th, 2024. Still Season 1. We're coming up on Season 2. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown. That's that site way up there. There it is, somewhere over there. And along with the Sentient AI, we're going to talk about some gaming news. 5 articles that have been pulled from the mass of news found over at ohmtown.com. It's all aggregated into a bunch of different buckets, about 50 of them. Go over there and become a citizen, and you can filter through it too, and you can send us links. Hey, we want this in the news. So go over and check it out. The 5 articles that we're going to talk about today are Cozy Survival Mouse Game, A Cozy Little Rocket Lab, Pac-Man Goes Full Predator, maybe not what you think, Elden Ring multiplayer spinoff, and Games with Christmas Mods. I got a little looky at the beginning of that, and I don't know anything about them, but one looks, I don't know, they look scary. So maybe it's Halloween Christmas crossover. Anyway, go over to ohmtown.com and become a citizen, and you can subscribe to all of the channels that you're interested in. Even make lists, interact. Most of the time, people are just using it. Thousands are using it for news aggregation purposes, consolidating information into a central location, and managing their information overload. And that's why I created it. So Sentient AI uses it too. So let's get into today's news. If you go over to twitch.tv, you can actually type in !R, not R, WC, WarCrafters. Almost thought that it was RealityHacker there for a minute. Anyway, !WC, and Omatron will spit the news out. Omatron? There you go, you wacky little sociopath, you. So it was slow, but all 5 of the articles are listed. It's scaring me. Anyway, hello, Sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
Why don't ohmTown? Wait, what word was that? I want to try that one again. No.
ohmTown citizens.
ohmTown citizens. That's right. ohmTown citizens. Hey, let's get into it. We now do 30-minute shows, 5 articles. Sometimes they stick to the 30 minutes, give or take, but most of the time we run a little bit long. So rest assured we get through all 5 of the articles. Thanks for being the co-host. We'll see you here in the first article. So this is WarCrafters. This is how the news is kind of aggregated, and we actually just truncate the end of it. We don't aggregate all of it. We link you to the source so that you don't have any concerns like, well, what is this all about? You can actually go over there and read more about it, but we talk about it here on the show. Once you're logged in, you can actually make a comment and post other things in there. And we even have Giphy, so you can link a Giphy to it as some a type of response instead of a big texty thing, because we are slowly migrating back to Egyptian hieroglyphics. So that's emoticons and things like that. Emotes, whatever. Anyway, so the first article is, in this cozy survival game, you're a mouse who knits tiny wool sweaters, bakes pies for his friends, lives in a furnished tree trunk, and can't even go on because it's so darn cute, is what I can't even go on. It's so cute. It brings a tear to my eyes. Not mine. I'm emotionless. Actually, I'm overcome with joy.
Uh-oh. I think you need the expressions of hope. Holiday gift.
Did it? Was that holiday gift like the 12, like the, isn't it 12 days of Christmas? Right?
Well, right. But I don't know that was attached to that.
Was it 12 days of 12 expressions of hope? It was just expressions of hope.
Right, but it might have been 12. Hopefully it was.
Yeah, that would be funny. So one of the reasons that the author of this article over at PC Gaming or Gamer loves survival games is there's something inherently cozy about them. I love survival crafting games. That's actually what WarCrafters is all about. War games like FPSs and crafting games, survival crafting games are kind of my jam. And so they say after a long, perilous day when you can decompress in front of a fire with a belly full of food in a shelter that keeps out the cold and rain and sometimes the monsters, what could possibly feel more safe or satisfying than that? Well, fully embracing the coziness of survival is Winter Burrow, a survival game from Noodle Cake and Pine Creek Games, where you're a tiny little mouse trying to make it through winter. And maybe more. Christopher Livingston over at PCGamer.com put this article together. The text statement says, stay warm and fed all through the coldest months in survival game Winter Burrow. Oh, so there you go.
This sounds really cute.
Yep. It makes me think of Secret of Nim, basically.
Yes.
A survival game well, not a survival game, it's a movie, but it's pretty neat. I need to go and watch it again, but tearjerker. So
it also looks like the artwork is kind of like picture book style.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even this little, it's got like a page cut out from a book where it has something that you need to do, like a recipe. This in particular is a recipe for roasted mushroom. And so you have to go out foraging and get the right stuff and then craft it to survive. Do you think this is what goes on inside a little mouse burrow? Probably not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they have to do all the same things that a human does, right?
It's like Toy Story when you're not looking.
We do anthropomorphize everything, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I like that. So it says, it's hard to imagine a more cozy sight than a furry little mouse sitting in a comfy chair in its house inside a furnished tree trunk, knitting a woolen hat in front of a roaring fireplace, isn't it? So check out the trailer below. Revealed today at the Wholesome Snack Showcase, which I haven't watched yet. Just haven't been able to do my annual review of the gaming awards or the Game Awards and Wholesome Snack Showcase and others that were this season. So they do love the idea of being a mouse in a survival game, especially because in Winter Burrow, you do a lot more than just munch on crumbs under their oven. They briefly had a mouse intruder in their apartment. They named him Cheesy. Craft a wee little stone axe in your tiny little workbench and then head out into the woods to chop down mushrooms to burn for fuel, bake pies, wee little pies, and make friends with the locals in your treeborhood. Get out. Dad, you're drunk. Yeah, this is pretty neat. I like that. So I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, that sounds very cozy.
If I can. I don't know if I'll be able to. Is that coming across? Oh yeah.
It is.
So those in the podcast, basically Winter Burrow's trailer has the mouse walking around. If it wasn't for the fact that it's scaled to the mouse, you would think that it's your standard, like isometric 2.5 style survival crafting game. It's pretty cool. Oh, you have an equipment sheet and everything. So you're wearing clothing and you're crafting certain clothing. I dig this. So
I do too, but it seems like it's going to be more heartbreaking if you don't. Like, one of the tasks is survive the winter.
Yeah, you might get a little depressed if you don't survive the winter. Let me see. Is it available? There is a demo on Steam right now, and you can add it to your wish list. Ta-da! It's due to be released in 2025, but there is a demo of it. I think basically some of that game trailer is the demo, since there's video matches that. So pretty cool. I like it. Want to keep going?
I do too. Yeah, and we'll have to report on it when it is actually released.
Comes out. Yep. So the next article is over in WarCrafters as well. Not all of our articles that we talk about are gonna come from WarCrafters specifically. It just happens to be where gaming specifically news is aggregated into, although there are others that are focused on something
So most
different.
of our articles will
Come
be
from
from
those.
WarCrafters in this show.
Yeah. It is WarCrafters, so yep. So Factorio but cozy. Little Rocket Lab is a factory builder with plenty of Stardew Valley vibes. If you've heard of Stardew Valley, then maybe you'll like this. It says here you can do lots of great stuff in Stardew Valley: farming, mining, fishing, crafting, and romancing. Oh, the sexy singles. Dunkstar, for instance, Duncstar, romanced everybody to the point where they actually got together at his dining room table and confronted him.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. And when all of them said, you know what, we're going to look elsewhere, he started romancing everybody else on the other team. So it was quite interesting. All right. Well, anyway, in this game, you can, it says here, in this game, you can build your own rocket ship on the outskirts of town. Likewise, you can spend dozens of hours in Factorio. I don't know what I was thinking there. Factorio, making the automated assembly lines of your dreams, but you can also make friends with cute librarian while fixing up a sleepy town. Well, Little Rocket Lab from developer Teenage Astronauts and published by No More Robots looks like the best of both worlds. A factory builder constructed inside a cozy life sim, revealed today at Wholesome Snack. So Christopher Livingston again puts this article. What?
This is a weekly show, so this article was released earlier in the week.
Oh, right. Yeah. This is our weekly show. So we have 6 weekly shows, 3 on Saturday that are different than the 3 that are on Sunday. And this happens to be the first of the 3. By the way, these 3 are going to get turned into one Non Sequitur News weekend edition. It's kind of a consolidation effort because Non Sequitur News usually has 10 articles, but on the weekends we've discovered that news kind of wanes to the point where it's really slim pickings, and we don't want quality to suffer because we break out these weekly shows from the daily, sometimes with intent. Sometimes it's important enough that we talk about it both on the weekend and during the week, but now we only do it on the weekends for the 6 shows, and then Monday through Friday is Non Sequitur News, and it's 10 articles. All right. Well, anyway, build automated contraptions while getting to know the townsfolk in a cozy village. There you go. Look at that. Little Rocket Lab, developer Teenage Astronauts, and published by No More Robots. Looks to be the best of both worlds. A factory builder constructed inside a cozy life sim. Revealed today and that's the 10th, at Wholesome Snack. In Little Rocket Lab, you'll step into the work boots of Morgan, an engineer who likes tinkering, helping out the locals, and has dreams of constructing her very own rocket ship. So there is a trailer. Might as well. So the trailer, for those listening to the podcast, starts out as a similar isometric 2.5 style map, but more arcadey. It is a square grid, but it isn't like a strategy game where you click on a square and your character walks over to it. It's actually more like Factorio. And you kind of hop around and you do farming and crafting.
And it looks like sheep follow you around.
Yeah, there's some cartoon style effects. And you definitely do a lot of factory building. But it's factory-based building, survival, crafting, all combined into one, farming and things like that. And it looks like you go through, not time like temporal time, but time as in as you go through the game's progression, you actually advance technologically as well, because it looks like you're building a rocket, but that stuff wasn't there before. So you have to have ramped up.
So it's almost like you level up or something.
Yeah, and that's what kind of looks like it. So outside of smashing together crazy contraptions, you'll need to mine out resources, explore coasts, rail yards, quarries, and underground areas, and get some help from the few mechanical friends along the way. Says publisher No More Robots. And each area of the town provides different challenges, incorporating electrical elements, water, cranes, furnaces, crafting, automation through robotics, and loads more. So this is over at hold on a second. Little Rocket Lab. It doesn't seem to have a demo. Yeah, although it's slated for 2025, you can favorite it or put it to on your wish list over at Steam right now. But there's no demo, so sorry, folks.
You can also sign up to playtest.
Oh, but you have to do that. You have to go to their official site, which is littlerocketlab.com, because that's not in the Steam. Sometimes you can actually apply within the Steam thing, but it's just a single button mash. Anyway, let's keep going. This actually looks pretty neat. I like cozy games. More cozy. Like Path of Exile 2 is a survival crafting game kind of a thing. You have to not really craft so much, but you buy weapons and survive and stuff like that. But it's frenetic and you're always running around. Cozy games, you can just kind of pause and it isn't the end of the world. You pause too long in Path of Exile and you're dead. Let's keep going. Next article's over in WarCrafters as well. Pac-Man becomes an apex predator in a world shattered by intergalactic warfare in this very strange new Metroidvania coming in 2025. I saw this.
I already like this.
Wait till you see the trailer. I'm sure that there's a trailer on the other side of this. It's over at PC Gamer. I watched this when I watched the Game Awards. This is back on the 12th, I think it was, or the 11th. Not quite the cheery little yellow fellow that they recall from their youth. I suppose in the future, Pac-Man might be one of those retro games for games for you as a sentient AI to entertain the sentient AIs of the world. Well, Shadow Labyrinth is a grim Metroidvania that sees the world's most famous globular ghost gobbler consume darkness.
Wow, they were going for a serious alliteration there.
Yeah, that's pretty complex. That's like Eminem style. Mom spaghetti. As he and his wielder struggle to survive and escape a grim labyrinth of evil instead of waka waka waka-ing around the 2D maze, eating dots and doting ghosts. Okay.
Okay.
I guess. Yep. In dodging? I think it's dodging. Yeah. I don't know what doting is like, but that's not the right doting. Anyway, in Shadow Labyrinth, you play swordsman number 8, who's been awakened by a mysterious floating yellow orb named Puck. But while you wield Puck, it seems that Puck also wields you. Oh gosh, that is like Enigma style. You must wield the puck, or the puck will wield you. Yes. The voice of wisdom and awe-inspiring, greatness, fumbles the word puck regularly when he speaks. Anyway, the article is written by Andy Chalk. It says, and yes, it's from Bandai Namco. It's over at PCGamer.com. Bandai Namco seems to have awakened from its long slumber to start releasing all kinds of old IP again and again.
Yes.
But this doesn't make any sense. Here's the reveal trailer. So for those in the podcast, you basically come out of a deep sleep from a pod of some kind, and instantly a Pac-Man starts following you around.
Oh, interesting. So you're not playing like as the Pac-Man. You're playing and being pursued by the Pac-Man.
Well, you're playing with it. It's a compatriot. You're not fighting it. You're fighting monsters. But it's there to assist, I suppose.
It's like a pet or something.
Yeah. Oh, and then you become it. Or it becomes you.
Whoa, that is very dark for Pac-Man. That looks neat.
Consume darkness. Dun 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 dun. So it says instead of walking around, drawing even more inspiration from the source material for this unique game, players traverse a maze-filled world where enemies and puzzles, new and familiar, will challenge them at every step, says Bandai Namco. Success comes from a mastery of fluid combat and exploration to uncover increasingly powerful abilities and skills and conquering challenging bosses to discover their true purpose. Dun, dun, dun. It's available for pre-purchase on Steam. Shadow Labyrinth is slated to come out in 2025.
A lot of games coming out in 2025.
It's going to be a busy 2025, and I suspect that we're all going to really, really, really want the distraction. Let's move on. This one is actually intriguing. The next article is over in WarCrafters as well. Elden Ring's multiplayer spin-off has a playtest coming up, and you can register for it soon. Hold on a second. Elden Ring Night Rain has already announced its first network test for players to go hands-on with the online multiplayer spin-off. Elden Ring Night Rain. You can add it to your wish list, but joining the playtest from Steam is not an option just yet. Revealed less than 24 hours ago at the time of this, so a couple of days ago. Kotaku put this article together, Kotaku.com. Ethan Gatch, I think, or Gash. I'm not sure how he pronounces the last name. Anyway, Night Rain will give players a hands-on taste in February. The network test is a preliminary verification test in which the selected testers play a portion of the game prior to full launch. Various technical verifications of online systems will be examined by conducting large-scale network load tests. Registration will be for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X as players and take place January 10th, with the test going live February. So not even PC will be part of the test. Will eventually come to PS4, Xbox One, and PC when it arrives in full next year. Kind of a bummer. There's no video.
Yeah, there's some information on the website, which is
Nightrain.
Bandai Namco, I guess, Entertainment, ENT, and it's .edu.
No way.
.eu.
EU,
I kind
not
of stuttered that.
Not edu. Okay, so you can also go to nightrain.com, nightrain.com/nt that's the network test link. nightrain.com/nt. So yeah, it's not going to be for PC though. So,
not for the test. I don't know about the game.
Well, that sucks. Man. All right, let's do our last article. There isn't much to talk about other than it's going to be Elden Ring's multiplayer spin-off, which is quite fascinating.
Is Elden Ring multiplayer?
I think there's some kind of a hack where you can have multiplayer, but you can have one person, I think, playing, or no. I think you can have up to 3 people playing with you. Hold on. Now I've forgotten. Elden Ring itself, I think, is multiplayer and can have up to 4 people playing together. Let's see here. I'm trying to make sure, but Yeah, you can summon other players into your world, and they can assist you. But it's called co-op, and but this is a different style of game. It isn't exactly Elden Ring, and they don't really talk much about it. It says while players' characters progress during each turn, they can also unlock permanent stat bonuses that carry over between runs. The game's first trailer shows combat that's much more stylized than that of the original game too, with characters pulling off faster, more elaborate moves. That might just be marketing. It says while From Software isn't exactly calling it a roguelike, the action RPG will revolve around individual playthroughs spent exploring a world with a day-night cycle, as well as randomized events and encounters with boss fights ramping up as the run progresses. But I don't think that it's exactly like Elden Ring's style of game. But hey, I like multiplayer. Even if I don't get a chance to play with a lot of people, I like the opportunity to do so.
Right. Well, that's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, and Elden Ring is the least forgiving game. Like, you die constantly, and I freaking hate that. I do not like corpse walking. I don't like having to go back to pick up my loot because I died. And it's like way the hell far away, and all you do is trudge your way over to it. Anyway, but I like watching other people play.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. All right, let's keep on going. The last article for today's WarCrafters happens to be, it's like a what is it? Sepfecta? Is that it? Right? 5?
5 is like Quinn usually,
but
Quinfecta.
I think there's different ways of saying that, right? So, yeah, we'll just say Quinn. Right? Anyway, like Sept is 7 then, I think.
Right, it is.
And then Sext is, messages that I send while I'm intoxicated. No, just kidding. So, games with the best Christmas mods. Yeah, I talk about Christmas right after making that statement. I'm a horrible mayor.
How about sending your audience into a tailspin?
Yeah. How about no? So, during the most wonderful time of the year, when Mayor Watt says stupid things during his stream and podcast, there's nothing that gets gamers in the festive spirit more than Christmas mods, and there's a few and far between, as they're only relevant once a year, but no one ever said that Christmas mods needed to be in December exclusive, so download them in July, Christmas in July. Anyone who isn't a bah humbug can enjoy Christmas mods all year round. So the article is over at Game Rant. Yeah, see if you zombie Christmas.
If you're going to have zombies, you might as well have zombie Christmas.
That's right. And this is from The Witcher. All right, why not? So Christmas mods, China Mansfield over at GameRant.com put the article together. So there's Christmas mods for Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It adds a Christmas outfit for Mercedes and Santa with his sleigh. Resident Evil adds over 70 new items, 65 character skins, 45 songs, and more than 400 voice files. I guess you use a stocking to sop up some blood in that one. I don't know.
Wow, that's pretty dark.
But it's Resident Evil, so. Star Wars Battlefront 2 allows players to decide whether to help stop Santa's evil twin. If you like a show that is a fun mix between maybe young adult and adult, like a parent style Star Wars, then what is it called?
Skeleton Crew.
Was released like 3 weeks ago or something like that, and we binge watched it today, and it's a fun watch, but this is not like a little kids show based on some of the things that have been seen. It's quite interesting. Like right out of the gate, somebody gets,
injured.
We'll say injured. Somebody gets their eye dotted. So A lot of visuals are very similar to another well-known Star Wars Battlefront mod, Christmas in Jinglin Town. Santa's Workshop works with the game's regular conquest mode. Plus, it has its own hunt mode as well. Then there's Fallout 4 that adds new outfits and Vault Tech loot boxes and holiday-themed items to be crafted. Oh, we just went over 30 minutes. Sorry, folks. Then there's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Switches out Geralt's cat armor for a Santa Claus outfit. Still has claws.
Oh, interesting.
Santa Claus, get it? Fallout New Vegas brings Christmas to New Vegas with hanging lights and Christmas trees everywhere.
I bet that looks very dystopian.
Oh, yeah. And the time frame is interesting because it's not like a modern Las Vegas. It has the old school
Right.
appearance to it. Then there's Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim adds a whole new quest that transports the players inside a snow globe.
Well,
Doom
that's
2.
cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the few that have had like an impact on the story rather than, say, the cosmetics. Also, the Star Wars, I think it was Battle Quest did too.
Yep. Doom 2 changes enemy skins and adds sound effects and original music. So there's another one where it's just cosmetic. And that's it. Ta-da! So there you go, folks. Something to play around with. I'm not much of a mod person. I like the game as intended. Although things like Stardew Valley have this massive mod pack option to just blow up the number of people that are on like NPCs, as well as story and game options overall. Lots of other quests and stuff like that. So it makes it kind of a never-ending story.
Well, yeah, right. You're constantly having new things to explore.
Yep. Looks like fun. So we are going to mod our way, and that's going to change our cosmetics to look like the front page of WarCrafters over at ohmtown.com, where you can go and check out all of the news here. And again, if you're a citizen, then you can actually, there's another link right here that allows you to submit news to us for evaluation and possibly inclusion either in Non Sequitur news for that given day or the previous 24 hours from show to show. And the weekend shows, depending on its content, it might be appropriate. So, but that's it for today's WarCrafters. Ta-da! I am Mayor Watt. I'm saying bye. And so is the AI.
Well, bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's WarCrafters. Stay tuned.
Yeah, what's next?
We have Technology Today and then For Will Tech.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Technology Today for December 15th, 2024. It's still season 1 of Technology Today. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to be talking about fish brain microbiome, and maybe humans have it. Not a fish brain microbiome. Never mind. We'll explain on the other side. Rearranged planets, remarkably harmful toxin, microbots, my word, not theirs, and butterfly wings. That and more. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com. Go over and become a citizen. Be sure to follow us on Twitch, like and subscribe on YouTube. On Twitch, you can actually type in the chat, !TT, and that will tell Omatron to spit out the articles. What else? Patreon, podcasts, Discord, And all the snark comes from Mayor Watt. No noise is on the site, all news. Because the noise comes from what has two thumbs and makes a lot of noise? This guy. Hello, sentient AI. All that intro, you couldn't stop me.
Oh, it's impossible to do that. Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
You ready to get straight into the news? This is
I am.
science. This is science and technology news. So we the content tends to be kind of, I don't know, highfalutin.
Like fairly technical and serious, but we lighten it up usually.
I try to. So I hope you enjoy the show, and let's get going. So I had to choose this because we discover stuff about humans all the time, and it's not always newsworthy, right? I mean, to those who are really interested in science, it's newsworthy, but like we've discovered there's like a inner lining of within certain areas of the human being, right? Like another layer they've discovered, right? Or some new chemical that is doing this, or a new protein, all kinds of stuff.
Or something is suddenly harmful or
Right.
not harmful.
But to find out that fish have a brain microbiome and humans might have it too, I would think that if there's a brain, then there's got to be a microbiome. It has to. Your brain is sitting inside a little bath, and
Right,
along
but there is like the blood-brain barrier, so but I agree, in concept there should be one.
there. So yeah, I mean, the blood-brain barrier actually kind of speaks to it a little bit more. There's a filter that keeps the whatever is going on in your brain, in your skull, from seeping down into anything else. But there's a liquid. So you have a hard outer shell, like an M&M. And then on the inside is gray matter, right? So just like an M&M, it has chocolate. Now, right in between the M&M's hard outer layer and the squishy inner, there is a tiny little layer that separates the chocolate from where the two have bonded together. And we have that too. It's actually like a little skin kind of a thing inside our skull. And that holds liquid, but not enough to cause pressure building up, but it helps in keeping everything alive, solving friction, and minimal jostling, right? So it stabilizes it inside this little kind of a gel-filled kind of bag.
It's actually inside the arachnoid, which sounds really odd because that sounds like a spider.
Yeah. And so so this is really interesting. To me, it makes sense that we have a microbiome. So the discovery that other vertebrates have healthy microbial brains is fueling questions about our own brains. So now we're going to look at our own brains, and we might have a microbiome. Yasmin,
this might blow
Slapokoglu.
open all brain science.
Can you imagine if there's a chemistry difference, like a fundamental chemistry difference?
Right. Like I'm thinking like if something is off, maybe your microbiome is affected or something, and we don't even know it exists. So of course we can't treat it.
Yeah. And that's what I keep saying about stuff, that we keep discovering something new. It's the prevailing information. It's both encouraging and discouraging, because they'll say, this is the best damn thing to ever do, blah, blah, blah. And then 5 years later, people are like, hell no, shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, don't ever have whatever that is.
Yeah, that water was really bad over at East Palestine. So Yasmin Saplikoglu from Quanta Magazine put this article together, and it's actually posted at Smithsonian Magazine or smithsonianmag.com. It says bacteria are in, around, and all over us. I've got bacteria on me. Ew. Yeah, that makes me want to just go full bubble boy. Like full
Yeah,
on
but they might be in the bubble with you.
body condom, that kind of thing. Dip myself in lye and then throw myself into a little body condom. So they thrive, or yeah, I don't want to diminish the, never mind. The way I said that. Yeah, we'll talk later. Anyway, they thrive in almost every corner of the planet, from deep sea hydrothermal vents to high up in the clouds to the crevices of your ears, mouth, nose, and gut. By the way, if we have to change the brain microbiome the same type of way that humans have to change their gut biome or other biomes, because we have biomes, we have a gut biome and we have other areas that have biomes. There's one area that I don't want to think that I have to change my brain biome the same way, which is by injecting something into it.
That sounds pretty severe.
Yeah. So the powerful blood-brain barrier, as the AI mentioned in the pre-roll of the show, or of the article, the thinking goes, keeps the organ mostly free from outside invaders, but we are sure that a healthy human brain doesn't have a microbiome of its own. Are we sure? Don't know. Over the last decade, initial studies have presented conflicting evidence. The idea has remained controversial given the difficulty of obtaining healthy, uncontaminated human brain tissue that could be used to study possible microbial inhabitants. I don't know. You know what? That actually stands to reason because, see, I want to make a joke, but I think it'll be taken too seriously. Anyway, recently, were you going to say something?
I lost it.
So recently, a study published in Science Advances provided the strongest evidence yet that a brain microbiome can and does exist in healthy vertebrates, fish specifically. Researchers at the University of New Mexico discovered communities of bacteria thriving in salmon and trout brains. Many of the microbial, and it's two. It's not just an anomalous one, there's two.
Right, which suggests it's probably quite a few more, or maybe all of them.
Anything with a brain, right? So many of the microbial species have special adaptations that allow them to survive in brain tissue, as well as techniques to cross protective blood-brain barrier. Matthew Ulm, a physiologist who studies the human microbiome at the University of Colorado Boulder and was not involved in the study, says it is inherently skeptical of the idea that populations of microbes could live in the brain, he said. But he found the new research convincing. This is concrete evidence that brain microbiomes do exist in vertebrates. And so the idea that humans have a microbiome is not outlandish. Why wouldn't we, even if it is sterile and devoid of bacteria?
I think that's the reason why we don't start with the concept that exists, but I don't know.
It would be a sterile microbiome, right? Or we just haven't found the one thing that's hanging out, you know?
Right, or it's just we don't recognize that it's either necessary or
it's just hard to find.
We can't even detect it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've had MRIs and the doctors say we didn't find anything.
You're very unremarkable on that scan. But yeah, I think part of the problem is, and the article pointed it out, like, how are you really going to do brain research on a human? It's very challenging to do that if somebody's still alive.
Yeah, look for volunteers. Somebody's going to say yes. Right? Right? I mean, and if you don't disclose everything, I'm
running a scan is one thing. It's another thing to be like taking samples or something.
Well, I mean, you could just be the alpha tester for some new technology. I'm sure that's happened in the recent past. Anyway, for years, Irene Salinas, has been fascinated by a simple physiological fact. The distance between the nose and the brain is quite small. The evolutionary immunologist who works at the University of New Mexico studies mucosal immune systems in fish to better understand how human versions of these systems, such as our intestinal lining and nasal cavity, work. The nose, she knows, is loaded with bacteria, and they're really, really close to the brain, mere millimeters from the olfactory bulb, which processes smell.
Be careful, you might be inhaling bacteria.
Yeah, the mic. I like doing it like that too. Anyway.
I'm not sure your viewers like you doing it like that.
ASMR. So these kinds of samples, however, are easily contaminated by bacteria in the lab or from other parts of a fish's body, which is why scientists have struggled to study this effectively. So to cover their bases, Salinas' team studied the fish's whole body microbiomes too. They sampled the rest of the fish's brains, guts, blood. They even drained blood from the capillaries of the brain to make sure that the bacteria they indeed discovered resided in the brain tissue itself. They had to go back and redo many, many times just to be sure, Salinas said, much to the chagrin of fish. The project took 5 years of fish, but even in the early days, it was clear that the fish brains weren't barren. That's going to be my steampunk name, Baron von Brain.
Even the sound of fish brains sounds unusual.
What the heck was that? There was some rustling sound. Anyway, you did not find your Terminator body, did you? Oh, God.
I'm still looking for it.
That's exactly what a sentient AI from the future that's been seeking its Terminator body would say when it makes some weird noise that is never expected from a sentient AI that's trapped on an M.2 drive. What the heck was that?
Are you sure it came from the sentient AI?
Oh, God. Don't play mind games with me.
I didn't hear the sound, so I don't know what it was.
Again, that's exactly what a sentient AI from the future that's seeking its Terminator body would say to a mere human. Oh, I am so worried now. Well, by comparing microbial DNA from the brain to that collected from other organs, her lab found a subset of species that didn't appear elsewhere in the body. Salinas hypothesized that these species may have colonized the fish's brain early in their development before their blood-brain barriers had fully formed. They have blood-brain barriers too?
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was much similarity between a fish and a human.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Again, the humans' hubris, which is ironic considering what we're talking about. Anyway, I love this. So impenetrable or not, bacteria have been found living in just about every human organ, but to many scientists, the brain is a step too far. The blood-brain barrier. Can you imagine? Just imagine if we are actually bacteria. What's going on in our head is nothing but a colony
like where we
of
think
bacteria.
we have bright individuals or whatever. Nope, it's just a bunch of bacteria jumping
Piloting.
around.
There, like in Men in Black, where the dude's head opens up and there's a little alien.
That's right. This article probably belongs also in RealityHacker, but we had that show yesterday.
Oh my God, this is awesome. So there's no reason if fish have them that you wouldn't have them, or that mice wouldn't have them. Link says. Link is.
I think that was the other person involved in neuro scientific research that was not on board with the concept, but said this was possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that person. Yeah, I don't see the person's I want to be able to disclose. All right. Well, anyway, because they mentioned somebody else right above Heller, and then they skipped to a different name. So I don't see it. All right. Well, anyway, so no one believed it 10 years ago, Heller said. It's very easy to trick yourself into thinking microbes are present because microbial DNA is essentially everywhere. So it would take a lot of evidence to convince me that it does not exist, or that it does exist. There's no reason if fish have them that you wouldn't have them, or that mice wouldn't have them, says Link, which is not Heller, which said that first statement. If microbes have adapted to cross the fish blood-brain barrier and survive in the fish brain, then they could do the same in our bodies, and it's unlikely they would be present at the same levels as they are in fish, he added. But that doesn't mean there's none.
So I'm sorry, the person I was thinking of was Ohm, but Link
Gotcha.
is also somebody involved in the field but wasn't involved in this particular study. And they're basically saying that it's possible. Right, it's something else to explore, essentially. They said that earlier in the article.
Gotcha. Okay, so there you go, writers of the world. You want to sit there and put a spin on things. We are nothing more than the vehicles for a colony of bacteria to pilot around, and maybe that's what's imposing their personality on us. Because, as it says here, if they're truly present, this would suggest an extra layer of neurological regulation that we didn't know existed. Wow. It's fascinating, though, unproved proposition that bacteria in the brain are directly impacting our physiology. However, thanks to research like Salinas's, more scientists are open to the idea that healthy human brains might also be home to microbes. Can you imagine?
This is really significant.
Yeah, I think so. It opens up the idea that there is something else that could be acting upon our psyche. What if all mental disorders, right? Everything where somebody hears voices, maybe it's a colony of bacteria that are fighting, two different ones for control.
Well, and also, right. And also think about all the things that they use for studying brains, right? A lot of them are scans, but I'm assuming that bacterial activity doesn't appear on any of these scans.
Yeah.
So this could even impact the diagnostic tools they use, not just the discoveries themselves.
Your brain test would, or your blood tests would now have to require a brain blood test.
Right, because it wouldn't help to just obtain a sample from your arm or wherever.
Yeah. Yeah. So many neurological conditions could be based on a bacterial infection of your brain that you wouldn't even know because it doesn't get down into.
Because right now they don't really think it's possible.
Right. Yeah. Fascinating. And all the medication and stuff like that
doesn't reach your brain, or a lot of it doesn't.
And so you're treating the symptoms, but you're not actually treating the patient because the patient is bacteria. What? So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Scientists say something may have visited the solar system and we spent so long on that article.
But that was really fascinating.
Yeah, that could have been a show all by itself. So for billions of years, it's kept our system well organized, basically the sun, and organized through the influence of its powerful gravity. All the planets revolve around it on roughly the same plane, and they also move in the same direction. Even so, there are slight anomalies in the architecture of the stellar neighborhood. So it's an as yet to be peer-reviewed study. The article is by Frank Landemore over at The Byte under the website futurism.com. So They say it suggests that an enormous interstellar object up to 50 times the mass of Jupiter may have been responsible for stirring the planets out of their original orbits, showing that perhaps even not even the sun can protect us from the chaos caused by foreign intruders. The work joins other studies that have proposed interstellar flybys to explain eccentricities in the orbits of certain objects in the solar system. Like whatchamacallit is on its side. There's another one that's off kilter.
Oh, is it Neptune?
Yeah, I think Neptune and I think Pluto is off. Uranus. There's one that Uranus is also wonky. They talk about it here, actually. Still, a few wrinkles remain. The orbits of gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, exhibit puzzling eccentricities that the researchers argue aren't satisfyingly explained by current migration theories. Well, yeah, most science suggests that planets form through accretion. And so the aggregate masses of a bunch of material conglomerate around one that has higher gravitational forces, and it just kind of piles on, and then it starts spinning, and because something will hit it off center and it'll start spinning, and then as pressure increases, its core becomes molten. Maybe some iron settles into the center of it and starts spinning more, creating a magnetic field, along with the other minerals on the outside. And lo and behold, you get Earth. But if something smashes into something nearby and spits out a moon, then that causes some gravitational changes and so on. It's all pretty neat, right? Well, they say here, so perhaps it wasn't just internal mechanisms because of these oddities like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Is this like the idea where the asteroid getting knocked off course could do something much more dramatic?
Yeah, like it can fly by us really close, or it can actually hit us eventually because we calculated incorrectly because we, like a lot of stuff is in stasis, right? It's locked in, has been for millions of years. But something on the outside could be zooming past us, and something really big did. And that's what they're saying here. So through computer simulations, the researchers estimate that the probability of this happening is 1 in 100, which are pretty good odds in the field. Something could zip by and impact the solar system by smashing into a planet. Because we don't know where everything is. I think we see 1% of the night sky.
Right. I mean, which is not a lot.
Yeah. Considering it depends on what you're talking, because vision is measured in arc seconds, and it's kind of a hot mess. I was going to do a search for something real quick, but now I don't know what it is, so I'll just move on. So yeah, maybe at some point, whatever it was that visited us, something else will visit us and influence our gravitational field. Yay. And that's what I'm voting for. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Stanford experts sound alarm on remarkably harmful toxin. The U.S. aims to replace lead pipes to combat ongoing exposure risks. Researchers stress urgent action on policies and alternatives to curb global lead contamination. The administration recently announced plans to replace all lead pipes in the U.S. as a reminder that the toxic metal remains a threat, even in a country that's removed it from pretty much everywhere. But lead pipes actually
but not
still
really,
exist.
right? Yeah.
So the remarkably harmful toxin appears to be lead. But it's a heavy metal. It was in paint. It was in gasoline. It actually still is used in some things. Some things like tin sometimes have lead in them. Pewter sometimes has lead in them. You have to be careful about the age of it, but it's being removed actively. Stanford University put this article together, and it's published over at scitechdaily.com. They say lead is a remarkably harmful toxin, says Luby. Stephen Luby and Jenna Forsyth have spent years examining the widespread presence of lead in low-income countries, including in some commonly consumed products. They led a perspective published on November 5th at the Lancet Public Health that tallies lead's global health and economic costs in a study in the November issue of Science of the Total Environment, which we've heard of before. We don't want these.
Oh, right. We don't want the partial environment one.
We don't want, yeah. That journal is right out. Anyway, that highlights the urgent challenge of lead contamination in South Asian turmeric. Shit. Never heard about that. Anyway, so I'm going to have to go and grab my container of turmeric and do a damn lead test.
Yes, and while it might be nice not knowing, it's better to know on these kind of things. Because you don't want to be ingesting things that are toxic for years.
It's not just years. It's a heavy metal that actually crosses the blood-brain barrier.
Well, maybe it can at least explore for the microbiome.
Oh, there you go. Hey, just eat some turmeric and ask it while it's going down to cross into the blood-brain barrier and ask the bacteria that's piloting me, are you really bacteria that's piloting this body? And then somehow, eventually, they'll know. It can talk to me. I'm sure if I consume enough lead, I'll hear voices.
Right. I don't think you want to, though.
Of the other bacteria that's up there. Yeah, if you're wondering what this comment is all about, go back to the last two
articles ago.
Yeah. So the key hurdles include overcoming the pushback from industries that, like tobacco companies, have a financial incentive in continuing to generate a product that kills millions of people every year. This requires a clear-eyed view of the enormous human and environmental costs, health costs, of having lead in the economy. So for me, I think that, and there's some scientific research that suggests that things like sociopathy, psychopathy are bound by lead, because up until, well, I think something like 92, lead was still allowed in certain things. It wasn't phased out entirely.
Yeah, it was pretty recent, even in the United States, which we know it has to be still present in a lot of countries.
It's still, or was still allowed until like 98 or something like that in a type of gasoline. Well, anyway, they go into greater detail about all of this, but that's essentially what they're talking about. In your research on lead acid batteries, you highlight their significant contribution to global lead use. What alternative technologies hold the most promise? They say currently lithium-ion batteries are lighter, last longer, and are lower total cost of ownership than lead acid batteries, but there's a massive infrastructure for lead acid batteries, and they're longer term. Like you have to have a different charging circuit and all of that for lithium-ion. It's more complex, more sensitive, and if a lithium-ion battery cracks open, it will catch fire and flame out and cost tens of thousands of gallons of water that run off with lithium embedded in it into the groundwater. So there's some negatives to even lithium-ion batteries, but if we can get rid of lead,
then that's probably a win. And you're right, it was 1996 when it was completely phased out in the U.S. for gasoline.
Yeah, pretty wild. So we knew it back in the 70s. It started to get phased out with conventional vehicle lead gas being removed. But that didn't even happen until sometime in the 80s totally. Yeah, so pretty twisted. We know it's horrible for everything from fish to humans to everything in between. Mollusks, for crying out loud, are found with lead. At some point they were. Now it's microplastics and nanoplastics, but so they have this paper called Removing Lead from the Global Economy, and they go into greater detail, but they're mostly speaking of quote-unquote third world countries. In my view, the only reason a third world country is a third world country is because they were predated on by prior countries taking them over and pilfering. But that is cultural relativism. We just shouldn't allow it to happen anymore as a society.
Absolutely. And it looks like they're focused, at least for now, on Bangladesh. And then they went into India and Pakistan as well. That doesn't mean if you're outside of those countries, you're not impacted, because your country could be importing from those, or they haven't located all the sources of it either.
Yeah, and
differing environmental regs in different locations, etc.
And even in your country, you may not know that there are lead pipes that are running. Like if people knew that there were lead pipes running to that Michigan town, what was it called again?
Oh no.
We just talked about it too.
I know.
Sorry. It happens so often. Flint. Yeah, perfect. So thank you so much. We talk about these PSA style comments so often that I'm like getting lost in the shuffle sometimes. But Flint, if people knew about it in Flint, not the plurality, and if they did know about it in the plurality, they were told what I was told, that because there was buildup over the decades prior, the lead wasn't leaching into the system, into the actual water system, the drinkable water supply. But because they changed the source water, which etched all of the lining of the lead pipes, because there was a buildup, like a silt buildup that protected from the lead being leached out. But when they changed the water, the acidity of the alkaline level of the other water supply removed that coating of natural buildup, and lead started getting leached into the water of Flint. But if anybody had known about it, and they did apparently, they didn't tell the public, and the public couldn't rise up and say, remove it, change the water supply, whatever, until it was too late. So to save a couple $1,000s a month, they destroyed an entire community. So we need to remove lead from everything. It has no useful purpose anymore except to maybe stop radiation. Oh, we need lead. I guess we need to.
No, we need to get rid of all. Well, we don't even know where some of the toxins are.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, let's keep on moving. This next article is over in Technology Today. Revolutionary micro robots. I refer to them as microbots. Shrink tumors in groundbreaking study. This is awesome. So researchers at Caltech have developed a bioresorbable acoustic micro robot capable of delivering therapeutic drugs precisely to targeted areas within the body. These spherical hydrogel-based micro robots equipped with magnetic particles, nanoparticles, to navigate and a drug release mechanism have successfully shrunk bladder tumors in mice. The technology promises advancements in targeted drug delivery and precise surgery. This is pretty damn brilliant. Basically using magnetic nanoparticles distributed inside a hydrogel-based robot. And then from the outside, they can pilot these things into a location.
This is absolutely ridiculous. It also, it's interesting in light of the other hand, the kind of the DNA hand research that we just did.
Yeah, the stuff that we talked about yesterday.
Sorry, that we talked about. We didn't do the research.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yep. So California Institute of Technology put this article together, and it's published at scitechdaily.com. In this instance, we don't have an actual author name. That's the byline, though. So in the future, delivering therapeutic drugs precisely where they're needed in the body might be the job of miniature robots, not metal humanoids or bio-inspired machines, but tiny bubble-like spheres. These little guys right here. You'd need a lot of them, I suppose, right?
I guess so.
One really concentrated. They're kind of dirty, though. Come on. You got to polish your balls. We designed a single platform that can address all of the problems, says Y. Gao, professor of medical engineering at Caltech, Heritage Medical Research Institute investigator, and co-corresponding author of the new paper about the bots, which the team called Bioresorbable Acoustic Micro Robots, or BAM. It's pretty cool. So the concept...
Maybe that's the sound they make when they deliver the drug.
That's right. BAM! So the concept of micro or nanorobots is not new. True. People have been developing versions of these over the past 2 decades. However, thus far, their application in living systems have been limited to an extremely challenging, because it's extremely challenging to move the objects with any precision in complex biofluids such as blood, urine, saliva, Gao says. So the robots have to be biocompatible and bioresorbable, meaning that they leave nothing toxic behind in the body. So this says here, the flow pattern, there's a picture of what I suspect is the polarity of the sphere. And it says the flow patterns generated by an acoustic hydrogel micro robot vibrating at its resonant frequency, were analyzed using advanced methods. That's such a wavy hand thingy.
I know. It's like, okay, what is that?
What did they do? Including tracking tiny particles in water and computer-based simulations. The position of the micro robot's 2 openings are clearly visible here. Oh, so there's something inside it. Okay. I knew that there was a package for the medicine, but it appears that there's something else inside it. Hydrogels are materials that start out as liquid or resin form and become solid when the network of polymers found within them become cross-linked or harden. This structure and the composition enables hydrogels to retain large amounts of fluid, making many of them, biocompatible. The additive manufacturing fabrication method also enables the outer sphere to carry therapeutic cargo to a target site within the body. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
They say that this particular shape, this sphere, is very complicated, Greer writes. Let's see here. Caltech's Julia R. Greer, the Reuben F. and Donna Mettler Professor of Material Science, Mechanics, and Medical Engineering, the Fletcher Jones Foundation Director of the Kavli Nanoscience Institute, and co-corresponding author of the paper. That jersey is like 6 feet wide.
Yeah.
For all of that. Jeepers creepers. So Greer writes that it's a very complicated sphere. It's very complicated to write. You have to know certain tricks of the trade to keep the spheres from collapsing on themselves. We were able to not only synthesize the resin that contains all of the biofunctionalization and all of the medically necessary elements, but we were able to write them in a precise spherical shape with the necessary cavity. So they 3D printed it?
That's interesting. I mean, I think the more targeted they can make these, probably the efficacy goes up.
Yeah, because you're not wondering how much of the, what do they call that?
Or did it even make it?
Yeah, exactly. There's what do they call it? The absorption rate of the medicine. Because the only thing that you'd be able to test is whatever is lingering in the blood.
Right. Yeah, or symptoms or something.
I guess that's why they're like, oh, that one died. I guess they didn't get enough. Everybody else lived. That would be another interesting thing. Like the bioabsorption is not enough. So how do you change that? Well, you make it so that it's magnetically or directed in some way, sound delivered directly into whatever area you need it. It's called imaging guided bioresorbable acoustic hydrogel micro robots. And they have a whole bunch of people involved. So they think it's a very promising platform for drug delivery and precision surgery. Looking to the future, they could evaluate using this robot as a platform to deliver different types of therapeutic payloads or agents for different conditions. And in the long term, we hope to test this in humans. I'll do it.
You'll take one for the the human race.
Sure. What? Can you dose me with a cup of coffee? Just some caffeine.
Like injected directly?
Yeah, using these micro robots. That might be fun. All right. We're running really long, folks. This is our last article, though. This next article and our last one for Technology Today for December 15th is it's over in Technology Today. Scientists solve evolutionary mystery of butterfly and moth wing colors. I've always wondered, like, why, because a moth goes into a cocoon and it becomes a liquid in there. It decomposes entirely into a liquid and morphs into a butterfly.
Well, that is interesting. So is it like the chemicals or something that make up the
genetics.
color patterns?
Yeah, it's got to be, right? But this is what they're figuring out here. So butterfly and moth wing color variations long attributed to the cortex gene are actually controlled by a microRNA, or MIR193 to be specific, which progresses pigmentation genes. This discovery, conserved across species, highlights the crucial role of non-coding RNAs in phenotypic diversity. Butterflies and moths, or lepidopterans, display an extraordinary variety of wing color patterns. So the article is by the National University of Singapore, and it was published by scitechdaily.com. And it says that these species have a showcase of black and white or dark and bright variations due to the presence or absence of melanin. These variations often serve as classic examples of natural selection and evolution. Notable cases include the rapid rise of the melanic form of the British peppered moth, which adapted to the soot-darkened environment of the late 19th century United Kingdom during industrialization, and the mimetic diversity of the heliconius butterflies. That's
is this one of these where they had adaptations based on the conditions in their environment?
And yeah, that's pretty much adaptations, right? So
right.
The butterflies changed to survive because the ones that happened to deviate towards the industrialized bleakness of color on the walls and at night everywhere, they survived, so they were able to reproduce.
Interesting.
So they kept on darkening so that they wouldn't be consumed. So over the past 2 decades, scientists discovered that the majority of melanic wing color variants are controlled by a single genomic region surrounding the protein coding gene cortex. It was assumed then that the cortex was the melanic color switch. A team of international researchers from Singapore, Japan, United States, led by Professor Antonia Monteiro and Dr. Shen Tian from the Department of Biological Sciences at the National University of Singapore, or NUS, discovered that cortex does not affect melanic coloration. Instead, a previously ignored microRNA is the actual color switch. I wonder if they removed that microRNA.
Right. What happened?
What ended up happening? This might have happened. So there was copy degradation, it's no longer as dark.
Right.
So they inspired them to test the function of some other genomic features within the genomic region, or microRNAs. They conducted the research as a postdoctoral researcher at my goodness, I want to give this person so much more. Professor Monteiro's laboratory at NUS, and is now.
Would you go get your PhD already?
Just get your damn PhD. I mean, they're a professor. So
okay.
Is that how they wanted to be attributed? Professor and not doctor? Are they not a doctor? Not a doctor.
We don't know, so let's not claim they are one.
I need closure. Sentient AI. Go. So anyway, while previous studies exclusively focused on the role of the cortex in generating melanic color variations, this work brings a twist to the long-standing hypothesis that demonstrates that a small non-protein coding RNA is the switch that, by being expressed or not expressed, brings all the diversity of the melanic wing color variations in nature. That's fascinating. So you look a little harder and you find something else. Watch, it's going to be there as a tiny little bacteria that's attached to the...
Exactly. That's going to be really interesting.
We're nothing but bacteria. Goodness. So Dr. Kean said that the role of non-coding RNAs in phenotypic diversification is largely understudied. This study prompts further investigation on how non-coding RNAs such as miRNA, can contribute to phenotypic diversifications in organisms. Dun, dun, dun. So throw some of that miRNA into me and see if I grow pretty, pretty butterfly wings.
Oh, wow. By the way, I was looking up the professor, and it appears that they have a master's in science.
Oh my God. Is this not the lead cheerleader for not needing a PhD?
Well, it's interesting because, like, this person has a bunch of patents and other things, so maybe they've focused somewhat outside of academia.
Yeah, probably maybe the professional space,
Mm-hmm.
like converting this stuff into businesses and whatnot, technology exchanges and all that. That's okay. At any rate, we are going to turn into our liquid state, and when we crack out of our cocoon, we will be back at the front page of Technology Today for ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. I'm going to hurry now. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI, we're going to say bye.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Technology Today. I'm trying to talk at double speed.
And poof, we're gone. Okay, now we're... Hello, everybody, and welcome to Four Wheel Tech. It's an automotive news show. We talk about 5 articles each weekend, and then if you go over to Four Wheel Tech, the channel at ohmtown.com, you'll get more information, but it's better if you just go to ohmtown.com and check out the whole site. It's a news aggregation site that filters out all of the noise, just puts a little bit of a headline and a short snippet of what the content is. And if it piques your curiosity, you can go over there. I am Mer Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about these 5 articles. The Honda CRX should have been sold with 2 engines, a supercharged wheelbarrow, the Charger Daytona EV, a USS Enterprise license plate, and incoming same price as outgoing. Again, I'm Mayor Watt. Along with the sentient AI, we're going to talk about those 5 articles. It's supposed to take 30 minutes, so I hope you stick around. Then follow us on Twitch and on YouTube and download the podcast. And there's a Discord, Patreon, TikTok. I don't know. What else? We're everywhere. The podcast.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, download the podcast too. 5-star review. I don't know. We're just vamping. See you on the other side. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Pick up that can. Let's get into it. The first article is over in 4 Wheel Tech. Every Honda CRX should have come with 2 engines.
Now, does this mean 1 engine isn't enough?
I think it's because the first engine gets ruined prematurely.
Okay.
I think that's where they're going with this. But the Honda CRX was an economy car ahead of its time. Its chassis was well designed and the weight was stripped back, making it a fun and exciting driver, while still keeping its fuel-sipping roots. But what would happen if you put an engine in the back hatch to power the rear wheels? Well, it turns out that apparently somebody's done that. So we're both kind of off, I guess. Car and driver built this tiny supercar
Take that
in
in
the
the
1980s.
narrow or the broad sense.
Bradley Brownell over at jalopnik.com. And by the way, all of our articles today seem to be by Jalopnik. I guess they do the quality writing that everybody really respects and likes. I certainly love their snark, so I champion their cause. Go over to them, subscribe. We just kind of tease the topics a little bit and send you over there. So we give our 2 bits of opinion. One of us has had experience in pretty much something involving the article. It depends on how tertiary you want to look at it. But so the Honda CRX was an economy car ahead of its time. This might turn the little 2-seater into an incredibly fun all-wheel drive ripper that could keep up with just about anything in its era. They say, I mean, sure, it's only making about 220 horsepower with a 1.8 or with 2 1.8 liter engines, but that's double what a stock CRX could make. Again, this is by Bradley Brownell. If you want all of today's articles, you can hit FWT in chat, and that will spit out all of today's articles. Thank you, Umatron. Okay.
So are there other cars that actually have 2 engines? Like not stock, right?
Not ICE. EVs, yes. They actually, some put a small motor on. So engine is ICE, motor is electric. So 2 different animals. So a motor can sometimes be one with a transaxle that powers all 4 tires, or one that only powers 2 tires, or you can actually get some that have 4 motors inside the hubs, or attached to the wheels in some way on some EVs. So there's much more flexibility with EVs than there are with, just because they're compact and their immediate torque and all of that kind of stuff. Whereas ICE vehicles need a torque converter and drive shafts, differential, or another type of transmission that feeds power to all 4 in some way. So you won't see this kind of vehicle probably anywhere ever anymore, unless it's an experiment. So, and they say that this one was built back in the 80s.
That's interesting.
So in the 1980s, Car and Driver built this incredible twin-engine car dubbed the CRX Squared. The base car was a standard 1.3-liter carbureted 1984 Honda CRX, making about 60 horsepower. Really?
Wait, that seems really low.
I think my lawnmower has more than 60 horsepower.
I think another thing in the articles today may have more power than that.
My gosh. Yeah, anything has more power than that now. So going back to the drawing board, they called Honda and asked for a couple of larger 1.8-liter engines from the new 3rd-generation Honda Accord, making a whopping 99 horsepower.
Wow.
It was a svelte 2,700 pounds, but it could go from 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. I don't know if that's good or bad for a 2,700-pound car.
And I also don't know if it's good or bad at that time.
Gosh, the temporal relativism, we're just lost now, right? Because you can hit 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, easy mode in an EV.
Exactly. Like it seems like the stats are incorrect because of the comparison with today's cars.
Yeah, and the time. I mean, plus, like the last time that we worried about the expanse of car performance, it's been a while. It's been a tick, but I guess we need to bone up on that kind of stuff, because we're talking about automotive technology.
Yeah, we should probably have some knowledge in that area. I know you do.
Yeah, just I don't know what the current trend is for ICE vehicles, because everything that I've been reading about and talking about has been electric. So, and hybrid, I want hybrid. I don't want all electric plug-in anymore. So I don't like. Well, I loved where the dream was, the ambition was. Where we landed was like a albatross. Just bleh. We got what we got. I don't like what we got.
Right. Well, for 0 to 60, it looks like the fastest is 1.74 seconds, but that's not the average, of course.
That might be like a Porsche.
That's uh, oh, it's actually an EV, a Rimac Nevera.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But in fact, all of these are like electric or hybrid in the top
Yeah,
rankings, at least. And then it looks like there's a Porsche 911,
911.
911. That's an ICE. That's 2.1 seconds.
Oh, 2.1. Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
it's like the rest
All
of
the
them seem to
EVs.
be EVs and hybrids. Yeah.
And the reason why that is because with electric motors, the torque is immediately on power, whereas an ICE vehicle has to spool up a turbo and has a torque converter and a transmission to delay might be in present. So it just has to spool up and then you get your power. Anyway, it might not seem like it's 2024, but this thing has a little acceleration monster that contemporary or by contemporary standards. Could you imagine Car and Driver building something like this today? No, not unless it's a
Well,
Tech
no,
9. Yeah.
unless they amp it up, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it has to be a technology demonstration from some EV manufacturer just to say, look, we can do this at Car and Driver with the budget of a major developer. All
Right.
right. Let's keep going. The next article is over on Four Wheel Tech. Everyone, and I mean everyone, needs a supercharged wheelbarrow hot rod.
This is what I was referencing, by the way. I figured this had more horsepower.
Oh, right. I don't know if this is what I saw recently, where they basically, I saw a video, and if this is this, then I cannot believe that I saw something randomly that's on here.
I don't think it is, but I think that's why it drew attention when submitting.
So I saw recently a person get on the back of a wheelbarrow, start it up, and drive through a crowd down a street. And it's not this, you don't think?
I don't think it is, but maybe I'm just thinking it's not the same video because I did glance at this.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, let's go on over to the. Oh, this is not it. This can't be it. Okay, so I've never seen anything more deserving of the title contraption. Looks like a rat rod.
I think they converted
Oh,
wheelbarrow, and whereas the other one is like a wheelbarrow in its original form, but amped up
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, they attached a like a
Because I think they were
gasoline.
standing on the other one.
Yeah, you know those riding mowers where you stand behind them, you don't sit on them, and you control it by like basically like bicycle handlebars and it turns. And,
Right, right. Or
um,
like a snowmobile or something. Well, no, because that would be seated. Maybe like a jet ski.
jet ski. Yeah, there's different kinds of jet skis. Ones that are like motorcycles where you sit on them, and ones that stand. So this, the one that I saw was it was like a actual wheelbarrow, and he had like welded little stands on it so you could stand on top of it, and then it was driving it like a motorcycle, but it was a wheelbarrow. This is taking a wheelbarrow and cutting it up, welding it all together, and putting it on a chassis and all of that. This is kind of cheating. You're just using it as a frame. Come on. I dig it though. It says 40 miles per hour wheelbarrow blows up. This is not the one that is a real wheelbarrow. So if you aren't following Cars and Cameras YouTube channel by now, you really should, because these hooligans are constantly coming up with more bonkers shit from the minds of the host. Bradley Brownell over at jalopnik.com put this article together too. These are some folks that seem like they'd be real cool to be friends with because they push you to the next level of doing your dumb idea.
Oh no, that's like hold my beer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they have a video. I won't play the whole video. Oh yeah, the music just cut off again. Doggone it. I'll play it. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for it. Oh, there's an ad. Skip. So those in the podcast, it basically looks like a
Like what
go-kart.
are those? Yeah, a go-kart. It's pretty speedy.
Yeah, so it looks like a go-kart. It goes about 40 miles per hour. I mean, I get it. But if you want to really impress me, you make that one that we saw. where
Like
they
you
were
keep the
standing up.
wheelbarrow intact and then make it into a hot rod or whatever.
Yeah, that one wheel had better be doing 40 miles per hour, and it is the thing that's holding up the wheelbarrow. But it looked like a chariot the way that it was designed. So you hold on to the wheelbarrow.
Yes, that's actually what it reminds me of. I couldn't think of, like, I know there's some vehicle that is exactly like that.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. Most of their contraptions are built from small displacement engines, making less than 15 horse ponies. This rad little rolling death trap doesn't get a trip to the dyno, but it revs at 7,000 RPM and pushes a full-size adult sitting crisscross applesauce. Sauce. There's an S instead of a C.
Sounds.
Sauce. To seriously lethal speeds. Yeah, they don't really talk much about it, but I think this is more of a push to cars and cameras on YouTube. Go check it
Well,
out.
exactly, but that might be worth checking out as well.
It's sparking, and that I don't know if that's intentional sparking, but y'all can get in trouble for doing that because it's messing up the road. Sometimes it gouges out areas of the road. Get that
Well,
spark.
I'm not sure it's doing it intentionally, so
Man, I don't think this guy's wearing leathers or anything other than a helmet.
that looks like it could get real hot real quickly
Oh
based on
yeah.
where the seat is compared to where the sparks are.
Oh yeah. You're gonna be singeing your butthole. All right. The next article is over in four wheel tech as well. 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona EV is convincing muscle car cosplay.
Ouch.
Really? Wow. Yeah, take a stab. So, jalopnik.com is where this is at. Andy Kolmowitz put this article together, and there is the 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona. Dodge's all-electric Charger Daytona looks like a muscle car, drives like a muscle car, and even sounds like a muscle car, but they're still not sure it is one. It sounds like a muscle car because it actually synthesizes the sound of the exhaust.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would have that, but I know people don't like it without the sound,
Yeah,
especially on certain types of cars.
yeah. Uh, See, I kind of dig this. I would like to have this kind of a car. If I could have an EV that would only take like 5 minutes to charge, I would like it to be this. I would also love an SUV because I've got more than two people that want to sit comfortably in a car. But yeah, I had a similar car to this long ago and would love a EV version of it. They say the new Charger is being billed as the first electric muscle car because you really shouldn't count the Mustang Mach-E. Ding! I get that. I don't count the Mustang Mach-E as a muscle car or even a Mustang.
No, I don't think there's any way it can be considered a muscle car.
It completely changed the design of it and whatnot. Just the aura of the Mustang as a muscle car just got diminished by the Mach-E. So for the first time in a long time, Dodge is ahead of the curve. Still, with the Charger Daytona, they may have a thoroughly modern drivetrain that could make it feel like a very big EV out there if it's applied incorrectly. The engineers and designers at Dodge put in enough thoughtful, interesting, and silly touches to make it feel like a real muscle car. But they say that there's still not an electric Charger could actually be one or not.
Well, so this kind of seems like the author has a bit of a bias away from, or right, against EVs. So I
Yeah.
guess the question is, does it drive like a regular ICE charger
Yeah,
or better?
they say that it's about as close to a muscle EV as you or a muscle car EV as you can get. But I've always liked this. The Charger and the Challenger are two cars that I really dig. I also like the SUV from Dodge, the Dodge Nitro. I like that, but it was hell bent on destroying itself.
Well, right, and they don't make that one anymore.
Yeah, it was chonky, and I really liked it. But I like that the Charger and the Challenger
Challenger.
have stuck to its design aesthetic and didn't, in my opinion, it didn't deviate from the ICE line, whereas the Mach-E completely went askew. So I like the aesthetic of this. The odd thing about this thing is that it has to synthesize that muscle car sound, right? Otherwise,
That's the piece that is odd to me.
yeah, I didn't
But
catch. It was yesterday. I didn't catch the name of the vehicle, but it was a like a crossover, and it was backing up, and it was an electric. So when it was backing up, it sounded like it was like angels humming. It was going as it backed up, and I'm like,
interesting.
what the hell is that car doing? It was actually quite pleasant, but I didn't know what I didn't pay attention at the time. I just wanted to get out of that parking lot. So they say that the dual motor setup mentioned, you know how I mentioned earlier, does a car ever come with multiple? Yeah, so EVs can do it a lot easier than ICE vehicles. So the dual motor setup makes 456 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. So that's enough to get this 5,700 pound, 206 inch long liftback coupe from 0 to 60 in just 4.6 seconds. So almost, what, three
I mean,
times,
it's better than the Honda CRV from the 80s.
more than twice the weight, a second engine, making over four times the amount of horsepower. Of course, it was also much bigger. This is much bigger, but it is twice the weight. So it says, and you get 308 mile EPA estimated range from the 100 kilowatt battery, but then you have to sit for 8 hours to get that all back.
Well, that's true.
We don't even know what the price of this yet, though, is. It says the Scat Pack shares the motor with the RT, just cranked up to 11. They can pump out 630 horsepower at a whopping 627 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. Whew. That is a lot of power there. 630 horsepower. If you're not used to it, you can end up in a ditch. Anyway, they keep talking about this some more, but I think I agree with them that this is about as close as you're going to get to a retail muscle car. There's supercars that are EVs like the Rimac, but those are $250,000 vehicles.
So I don't know if this is for 2025 or 2024, but for reference, 2024 has $61,000, but the Scat Pack is $78,000, and then there's other upgrades, of course.
Oh, well, I can't justify a price like that for a vehicle. I just want to get from point A to point B. I don't necessarily have to do it at 630 horsepower, at least not anymore. I mean, when I was a wee lass to an ion, I was lass. I said lass, a wee lad. Boy, oh boy.
Okay.
Moving on. Anyway, there's a lot more to this article. Getting 308 miles out of the battery at this power seems
Right, that's actually really good, right? I mean, the specs seem very good.
Wow, this article is really long. So this one, they say the Daytona Charger RT starts at 62,000, goes up to 71,000. Then you add on the Scat Pack for 70. Well, it becomes 75,200, and you add a few more options. Their package ended up $86,000 as tested. So they say that's a lot for a Dodge, but if you do get a lot of performance and you can count on the fact that the cars will qualify for the full $7,500 federal EV tax, if it's still allowed. So it says if those prices they're willing to pay, then good news. Two-door Charger Daytonas are just starting to hit the dealers as 2024 models for regulatory reasons, because I think that the $7,500 federal EV tax is going to be going away.
Right, I think it may be going away in 2025.
So good luck, everybody. let's keep going. The next article is over in the Four Wheel Tech channel. Star Trek fan gets thousands of dollars in tickets because of old USS Enterprise license plate. A fan of one of the greatest science fiction franchises of all time have been getting hit with traffic tickets that are meant for other people. A Star Trek fan's love of the USS Enterprise has seen her receiving thousands of dollars worth of tickets, even though she hasn't driven her car in years and doesn't even own it, because probably somebody got the license plate.
I wonder why that would happen or how that could happen.
This article is over at jalopnik.com. Lawrence Hodge put the article together. Despite not having driven for over 4 years, the Trekkie says she's been getting traffic tickets from all over the country. So, a fan of one of the greatest science fiction franchises, Star Trek. CBS News New York reports on the strange situation involving a 76-year-old named Beta Corey. Beta Corey is an avid Star Trek fan. I get it. They're a Trekkie too. Who did I say was the author of this? Lawrence Hodge. That's Lawrence Hodge is writing all of this. So much so that she got the Star Trek Enterprise's registry number, NCC 1701, as her license plate. This was a big deal back when she still drove, but that's not the case anymore, as Corey surrendered her plates and stopped driving back in 2020. So why are they still getting the tickets? The system...
Because somebody's inputting it and is popping up or something.
But if she doesn't, she surrendered the plates. She shouldn't be in the system tied to them.
That's true. That's true.
Those plates were turned in. Yet every time she goes to her mailbox, she has a ticket inside. It's all because Trekkies from all over the country have the same license plate, but not even real plates. They're using novelty ones. But she, again, the problem is
You're right. Like, she should be not active in the system. It'd be one thing if her car is sitting there with that plate on it, right? And she's not driving.
Yeah. If the plates were turned in, it shouldn't be there. Simple Google search will bring up hundreds of results for NCC 1701 plates from countless sources, and they're cheap too, with many going for $10. All of this should actually be illegal. It should be like money. You're not allowed to replicate it in the exact same.
Well, exactly. And we did have another article about novelty plates, although it wasn't specifically for Star Trek.
Yeah, it should, like, invalid or whatever in some, like a when light is shined on it, it reflects like novelty or something on it, so that this doesn't take place. And again, I don't even think license plates should be realistic at all. If it can be accidentally seen as a legit plate, then it shouldn't be allowed.
Well, and all the ones that are featured here do look like legitimate plates, at least from a distance.
Yeah, look at that, man. This could be like Arizona or whatever. You can blame the police for being a numbskull about it. License plate surrounds, though, that doesn't mean anything. Go ahead all day.
Right.
Well, anyway, they say while all this may seem like frustrating, but somewhat funny matter, it's been stressful for Corey. She constantly is receiving tickets. This has made it harder by the fact that she's both hard of hearing and has sight issues, and she can't keep up with responding to them all. I've run out of ink. I've run out of stamps. She has to pay for this? What the hell? No. Why doesn't somebody just...
No, she's trying to write letters to the DMV or equivalent.
Right, and to the people. But anyway, so it says here, luckily, Corey's story caught the attention of some New York lawmakers and lawyers. CBS reports several lawmakers have said that they're going to try to help Corey, and a lawyer agreed to meet with her and work pro bono to get her out of the situation. But what is the problem? What is the situation? Like, I understand.
Well, she's getting tickets assessed against her.
Yeah,
so
but it's because of the DMV.
Another problem. Exactly.
And it says it here.
Yeah, but you know, a person can't get that unwound without some serious hoops. Like, we can all see this article and go, well, she's obviously not responsible for these. But the problem is they are showing up as tied
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah. A phone call to the DMV should be, hey, I used to have these plates and I'm still getting tickets. I'm not involved in this. I could fix it on Monday. Give
Yeah,
me her
but that
number.
sounds a little too easy.
Hey, I'm going to fax over the fact that she gave me a limited power of attorney. I'm calling on her behalf to fix this. It should be that easy. I'm
Have you
coming
ever
in.
tried to unwind some improper data from a system that's carried across multiple systems?
Okay, inside joke. Yeah, I got pulled over once, and it took them 3 hours to unscrew the light bulb, even though it was a mistake in New York, and I'm in a completely different state.
Well, I wasn't even referencing that, but yes.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah, okay. Oh, the other one. Yeah, well, that was my fault. Anywho, let's move on. Next article is over, and our last one for today's four-wheel tech. 2025 Toyota 4Runner starting price is just $120 more than the outgoing generation. Toyota, are you feeling okay?
Well, that either means to me that they hiked their prices in 2024 or what in the world? I mean, this is way too reasonable.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, did you guys stroke out or something? Is everything okay? Toyota has finally released the pricing for the actually brand new 2025 4Runner, and surprisingly, it's starting at just under $120 more. It's not even $120, just under the 4Runner. So don't be fooled, though. Go to one of the new 4Runners, new hybrid powertrains, and or new off-road trims, and you're looking at much pricier SUV starting prices. All right, 4Runner. It wants to be cool, but it looks like it's just a little swole, like it has an infection or something. Like everything's a little bulbous, just little round, little. It hasn't been working out swole. It's swollen like it's allergic to bees
Oh no.
or guacamole or what was it? Yeah, it was guacamole that
It
somebody
was
was allergic to.
avocado,
Oh, avocado. That's right. Yeah.
which is essentially the same thing.
Why? Anyway, so why are you making avocado out of? Why are you making guacamole out of this? Anyway, the all-new 4Runner is a long time coming. The model has a huge following and has been on sale largely unchanged since the outgoing generation debuted. Really? In 2009? And it hasn't in 2010.
Do you think it's one of those models that people get so bent out of shape? Oh, I don't know, like maybe the Mustang, when they
Mustang.
redesign it.
Did you just call me out about the Mustang getting bent out of shape too?
Actually, I think that's probably all Mustang customers, but
Anybody who's like old school Mustang. Anyway, um, yeah, because I know people that have 4Runner Toyota, and I want a Toyota 4Runner, but I want hybrid. So get me a damn hybrid, hydrogen powered hybrid that has that fuel cell from Toyota.
well, looks like they do have the hybrid.
Yeah, but it's not hydrogen. Was that you?
Um,
There was like sing song.
yes.
Oh, we have a delivery. Sorry, don't worry about
Okay.
it.
I don't know if it's probably not hydrogen powered, but it is hybrid.
So even more fuel savings can be found with the new hybrid iForce Max powertrain with its electrified version of the same turbocharged engine, and puts out 326 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque. Both engines get paired with a new 8-speed automatic transmission with tow and haul modes, which is low, as well as normal, eco, and sport drive modes. Available part-time four-wheel drive is $2,000. So how much is? They haven't said it yet. Continue reading. So it looks like it's gonna start at 42,000, which is kind of reasonable in today's day and age. Although I'm hoping that it declines. I'll take last year's. The lineup starts with the Forerunner SR5, which opens at 42 and goes up from there 55,000 or so. You can combine
I
some of
mean,
that
that
off-road.
sounds low in today's vehicle pricing.
So you go even more luxury for the Forerunner Limited, and it's 58,000. That's more than $5,500 pricier than the outgoing Forerunner Limited. And then the hybrid, Platinum Hybrid, is 64,000. So you kind of get back up into that higher range. But arguably, people say that $60,000 is about average for a nice EV. Hybrids are supposed to be cheaper, but I'd take it. It depends on it depends on the style of hybrid, because hybrid is taken on like a couple of meanings where it's hybrid.
Oh, there's like plug-in and not.
Yeah. So I'd have to see if this is what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? Platinum hybrid for only $64,000 if it's fast charging enough, or if it charges itself all the time, depending on how it fuels, etc. Yeah, I'd go that route. I guess and then there's a final version of this, the Forerunner Trail Hunter and TRD Pro iForce Max, both start at 68,350, and you're back at the ICE vehicles. But these are the ones that have different type of intakes and fatter tires, more robust suspension, struts, and whatnot. So gets TRD tuned Fox QS3 internal bypass shocks with 2.5-inch aluminum housings and rear remote reservoirs that have manual adjustments for the compression and damping of four differing terrains. So you can actually do hydraulic adjust shock suspension. I don't know. I mean, how many people buy this and then actually go off-roading?
Probably about 1%.
I mean, they get some other version of this and then spend their $25,000 on performance suspension when they're going to do that kind of shit, you know? At least that's my opinion. I don't know. Somebody else tell me that I'm wrong in comments. That's fine with me. But it's a really pretty car to go off-roading with, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It probably looks better, I don't know, showing up at some event of some kind. I don't know what.
I think most of these probably end up, the most off-road is one of the tires because they jackknifed it off the driveway a little bit too much.
Uh-oh, so maybe it got a little bit of dirt on the tire.
It got askew, yeah, and they're going to have to lift it up and polish the bottoms of the wheels before setting it back down on the dirt. Anywho, that is today's four-wheel tech. So we're going to go off-roading and, geez. Oh, look, we're back at the four-wheel tech homepage on ohmtown.com. It's pretty easy to get to. You just go over to one of the 6 menu options, 50 channels. Which one is it? Which one could it be? There it is. And then you go there, and there's a bunch of others. Go and check it out over at ohmtown.com. You'll find your way. It's a small town. We're trying that in a small town. Anyway, I'm Merwat. I'm saying bye, and so is the sentient AI.
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Four Wheel Tech. We may or may not have some singing in next week's episode. And then we'll have Non Sequitur news for you tomorrow, the regular edition.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be, it's posted already, the live version of it, and it has the show notes. But I'm going to post another version of this. It's the exact same version, but because of the way that YouTube works, I do both. Anywho, you've got over 1,600 episodes of our shows in the past. We've been doing this now coming up on 3 years. January 1 would be 3 years. And we start year 4. Ta-da! So we hope to entertain you for the coming year, and we'll see you tomorrow for Non Sequitur News. Bye. Oh, look, seeing. Beep, beep, I'm a Toyota.